Okay, YouTube. I know some of you guys have seen the video where I reviewed this one and quickly review this one, but these two are digital night vision, and these are the generation of digital night vision that I have said and others have said it comes pretty close to the performance of a Gen 2. And now we have the ATN Night Arrow 6 to compare it against. This is a Gen 2 Plus white phosphor, 6 times native zoom. So when it gets dark, I'm going to compare the images. But first I'll tell you what I have gathered already, which is that in most situations where you would need a night vision scope, honestly, I think that you get most of the, it's like 80%. It seems to be, I wouldn't say, oh, this is as good as this. This is like 80% as good as this. But it is significantly cheaper than a Gen 2. Even these old Russian tubes that these supposedly use, they're pretty expensive sometimes, you know. And this will also sort of be a review video for this. This is not the original illuminator. This is an upgraded illuminator, and you'll get to see that in action as well. So what I mean by you get 80% of it is if there's no light at all, you're going to be able to see more with this, obviously. But even in even though you can see a little better in total darkness or closer to total darkness with this, it's like still you wouldn't be in a range of light that you wouldn't be able to see with this at all, almost, or you know, not as good. You're still pretty much not getting a clear enough image of whatever you're aiming at to probably decide if you're shooting at it or not, whether it's an animal or your target, what paper target, whatever. So in just a little bit of moonlight, as you could see with this one, it does work pretty good. And the same is true of this. I didn't get as good of images through the lens of this as I did with this, because it's just harder to do. I don't know why. But I'll get some here in a minute and you'll be able to see. But we're going to finally demonstrate how the digital night vision stands up to a Gen 2 Plus white phosphor. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so it is dark. The moon is not in any position. You can kind of see there's my little porch light thing. So that kind of gives you an idea of how dark it actually is. So there's not really any moon to speak of. It's like set already, and it is in fact snowing. So I'm going to show you what the digital scope looks like first. Alright, and then I'm going to try my best to get the image here. Now, it is of course very hard to get this camera to like what this shows it. Now that light on the porch has just went off. Alright, so keep in mind this is in green mode. This is just kind of like, it's very difficult to get the to get this camera in particular to really like this image that comes through the screen. But as you can see, this is my neighbors over there. You can see the truck quite well, see the house quite well. Now there's other things that you can actually see pretty decently, but because of the basically just the way this there's the other neighbor. You can kind of see that it is in fact picking up images of the hill. It's just quite dim to the camera, but through your eyes, through my eyes, I can kind of see a little bit of details, but the best thing to show you is really, let's see if I can even find it. It's so dark. This truck. So now I'm going to show you the Gen. So you can see this camera likes this scope lens and stuff a lot better than it likes the screen. It is still really hard to get it in the right spot. Like, I cannot hardly figure it out at all, to be honest. Okay, there we go. Alright. So, I'm waiting for the light to turn off on my porch. Now, let's look at the neighbors. So that should give you a pretty decent comparison. Even though the other scope is not quite as easy to see through this camera, it's just a little bit shittier than this. This is a lot clearer though, I gotta say. Well, there you have it. Okay, so in conclusion, as you saw in the video, this is actually pretty close to this. And I was just looking at the footage, and they're really quite close to each other in terms of image clarity. I mean, you know, obviously this is cooler, but this is also way bigger. And as I might have said, it's actually not that much. This guy is not that much heavier than this. It is heavier, but you get a quite smaller scope using this. And if you were to turn it on and look out the window right now, it would not break. That's a pretty cool thing. I know I said something about the illuminator, but neither of these in the video that you just saw, I was not using the illuminator on either one. In fact, there's no battery in this right now. I took it out for storage. So just keep that in mind. So that's the comparison of the scopes. If I get my hands on a Gen 2 or 3 monocular, we'll compare the 1x as well, but this one's 6x, this one's I think like 4. So that's about the only discrepancy. And again, this is the ATN Night Arrow 6. And I'm not really planning on doing much of a video for that because apparently this scope is a little old. It does work good. It's really big. In this scope here, this is the older version. And in the original video I did, I neglected to include this. NY350YL Sniper. There's a bunch of these. Some of them don't have green mode, like I said. And the newer ones are probably quite a bit better. Alright, thank you for watching.